Recording. Just hold on. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for helping. My name is Ransom Anyema. You already know. If you're a new, viewer, like I said, my name is Ransom. I'm a medical radiography student, my fourth year, and I'm also a medical writer, a proficient medical writer, and I'm also a content creator on YouTube, especially. So today I have an amazing guest speaker all the way from the US. Salo, right?
Salo,
Do you,
correct.
yeah, do you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Sure. My name is Janelle Salo. I'm a registered nurse. Recently became a RN health writer, writing for different online publications and magazines, as well as my own health and wellness blog, healthyearthliving.com, which is sort of a labor of love right now. I've been doing that since June of this year, so it's a fairly newly hatched website, um, but it's been a lot of fun. I've met a lot of really great people, and I'm actually in the process of writing holistic articles. I'm learning more about holistic lifestyle than I thought I knew before, so it's been fun.
Awesome, amazing. So we have a couple of questions for you to answer. You ready?
Sure,
All right.
ready.
So okay, it seems you're very ready. All right. So the first question for you is, what inspired you to move from bedside nursing to writing about health and wellness, particularly in the field of holistic and functional medicine? Talk us through.
Well, so about 3 years ago, I went on my own personal journey of self-discovery. I took a bad fall, ruptured my right ankle, the ligaments in both ligaments in my right ankle, and I knew that I wasn't living my healthiest. So I started focusing more on healthier lifestyle choices for myself through diet and exercise. I always practiced yoga, but I just practiced it because I thought it was good for me. I didn't really fully benefit from the spirituality of being a yogi. And when I started seeing between my new lifestyle choices, especially with my diet, and then implementing that with my yoga practice, I did lose a lot of weight, which I needed to do. And I thought, this is something I could effectively use when teaching my patients, because I do chronic disease management as a nurse. I did that in home health for almost 15 years. And then when I fell down the steps, I had to kind of stop doing that kind of work because I really injured my leg. I couldn't really walk for a while. But I do care coordination now with MedStar Health here in Maryland and DC area. My patients are telephonic, but I'm able to introduce holistic living to them over the phone, incorporating as a complement to their conventional treatments. So I'm a huge advocate for that, making sure that people understand that they can embrace a healthy, holistic lifestyle along with their conventional treatments. It's very important for people to see that there are ways that you can enhance your living without being shackled to a box of medications, if you know what I mean.
Wow. So, by the way, so sorry about that awkward incident that happened to you on your ankle. I know
Oh,
injuries
sorry.
injuries on the ankle is kind of like very painful. Very
Extremely
very.
painful and very embarrassing.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much, Sally, for talking us through about how you move from, being a bedside nurse and practitioner, to writing about, health and wellness, particularly in the field of, holistic and functional medicine. Thank you so much for talking us through about that. So that draws me to the next question for you, Salo. Can you share your process for researching and creating content that effectively informs people about holistic health practices? What do you have to say about that?
Well, For me, holistic medicine is kind of a no-brainer. I mean, before we became so tech forward with our medicine, hundreds of years ago, we were all pretty much surviving on holistic a holistic lifestyle when it came to like just eating from garden to table, working outside. A lot of people were physical, working with their hands. So for me, it's just kind of a no-brainer to write articles about modern day holistic living. So first I choose my topic, what I want to write about, because I'm primarily writing for myself. And then if I need to research any claims made in the article, that's when I will then I'll research the claims just to back it up. If I can't find something to back up my claim, then I just don't use it in the article. I want it to be known that the articles are being researched. I try to use the peer-to-peer sites like PubMed and NCIB just to make sure the information out there is accurate and scientific. But I do write it first and then I research later.
That's a little disclaimer out there. To majorly to avoid plagiarism. Because I'm a medical writer as well, so
Yeah.
you know we do a lot of researches before we do put out our works out there. To avoid plagiarism, because plagiarism is a very very serious matter. So I love the fact you shared about your process of for researching and creating content that effectively inform people about holistic health practices. Also that applies to me as well. These are amazing sites, website you mentioned about, because I love using PubMed as well. To do
Yeah.
some kind of like researches. When I write for my clients as well. So I know that I'm in the right lane. I don't want to flag this plagiarism or something. So if you're a medical writer or a health writer, I think you should do more researches. You know, make sure that your work is authentic to avoid plagiarism, because it's a very very serious matter. I don't know about in the U.S., but here in Nigeria, I think it's a very serious case.
Mm.
So thank you so much for talking to Sarah about that. So that drives me to the next question for you, Salo. What are some common misconceptions about holistic and functional medicine that you encounter, and how do you address them in your writings? That was there.
Well, that's a great question. So I think a lot of people think that holistic and functional medicine isn't backed by science, but it is. So, for example, a chiropractor is a type of functional practitioner. Having seen one myself last year, my chiropractor did a head to toe body scan x-ray on me. This is up your field, Ransom, because I know you're a radiology student, to try to pinpoint where in my neck was being pinched, because I was suffering from a very bad left shoulder injury. And I didn't, as a yogi, I didn't know what I did wrong, but I did something wrong. So I think it's important that people understand that functional practitioners do use conventional methods and scientifically based methods such as lab diagnosing and diagnostic tools such as X-rays and MRI scans. Another misconception would be that holistic medicine is anti-medication or anti-conventional treatment, which is not true also. Like I said earlier, my goal to teach my chronic disease patients, because I work a lot with diabetics and heart failure patients, I don't want them to think they can come off their medication. That would be very bad and very dangerous. But I do think that by complementing a holistic lifestyle, especially with diet for those two chronic disease groups, will help them to possibly get off a medication down the road or come down on their dose if you're a diabetic, for example. A lot of type 2, I can't speak for your country, but in my country, a lot of type 2 diabetics could probably manage their diabetes with just diet and exercise. But in America, we get kind of lazy because we have a lot of fast food and a lot of junk that it's readily available to us, and it's cheap. A lot of people are on a fixed income, so they buy this bad food for themselves, and then before they know it, they have a weight problem and they're diabetic. So I wish that people would spend more time at the grocery store and less time at the pharmacy line buying healthy food than buying prescriptions. So I want people to understand that you do not holistic practitioners don't believe that you should give up your medications, your conventional treatments. You should complement your practice along with it and then be followed by your providers. Don't do anything without talking to your provider first. And then I think the third misconception is that natural treatments such as supplements and herbs are side effect free. And that's also a misconception, because if you're on a lot of medications, a lot of times supplements can interact with some of the medications that you're taking. So it's really important that you discuss what you want to try with your providers first before just trying it. Make sure that they can do the background research for you to ensure that your supplement is complementary to your conventional medications. And I do include a disclaimer on all my health articles on my website, just for that reason.
Yeah, I do agree. Oh my Thank you so much for talking us through about some of the misconceptions about holistic and functional medicine you've encountered and how you address them in your writings. I believe that the audience are really enlightened about that, because I know majorly most of the audiences have some you know misconceptions about holistic and functional medicine. They have encountered as well. So if you have any misconceptions about holistic or functional medicine that you need some clarity on, you can add the questions and you know in the chats in the comment section. Salo is willing to you know clear you on that or clarify you on that. So also you can reach out to Salo on LinkedIn, because we're gonna add her description below to connect with her on LinkedIn. And if you're having some doubts about some conceptions, like I said, misconceptions about holistic and functional medicine, she's willing to clarify you on that. So thank you so much, Salo, for talking us through
Sure.
about that. So how do you ensure that your content balances scientific accuracy with the practical, holistic approach that functional medicine promotes? What do you have to say about that?
Like I said earlier, I mean, I try to find peer reviewed resources such as PubMed and NCBI to back what I'm writing about. I will also use places like Cleveland Clinic, Mayo Clinic here in the United States, because they do a lot of NIH here in Maryland. There's a lot of uh, research that's going on. I think right now holistic medicine is kind of a big deal. I think we're seeing more and more people adopting and embracing the lifestyle. So if I'm, I think it just has to do with how I'm backing my articles with what I'm finding out on my own and what I'm researching on my own.
Okay, okay. Um, you know, Scientific accuracy is measured about professionals in the game already. Like, for instance, you're a registered nurse, and you have a lot of experiences in nursing practice. I think you have the ability to balance the scientific aspect of writings. In terms of medical articles or something. But for me, still in the training, also getting to my finals, just kind of like struggling with the scientific part of, writing, because you're not already in the field, you're just still training, because scientific accuracy needs a lot of experiences. Because I was speaking with one of a medical doctor in the UK, you know, I think she said that she incorporates scientific writings because of her clinical knowledge in medicine. So that also points out that if you're a medical writer, you're looking forward to writing about more of scientific articles. You have a gig about writing about scientific stuffs. Collaborate with experienced people in that field you're writing to be more clarified about what the article is all about. So Sal, thank you so much for talking to me about that. So that draws me to the next question for you. All right. So, what health topics or trends do you think are gaining popularity, and how do you decide which areas to explore the more in your writings? Talk us there.
So the first part of your question, I think right now it's really big is gut health because the gut health and the brain access are there's such a correlation between what's happening. We have a lot of gut, gut disease here in America. Um, People suffering with IBS, especially women of my age group, and it's interesting to know that there's so much about what's happening up in here that can affect what's happening down in your belly. And I didn't know this, and I just happened to meet a really great um, gut writer that writes a lot of articles for healthyearthliving.com on the gut biome. And I have learned so much about that. It's helped me with my own IBS symptoms. So I think that's a really big hot topic right now in the field of medicine, and I'm happy to be able to incorporate that with holistic living at healthyearthliving.com. Another is chronic conditions such as chronic inflammation, people suffering with autoimmune disorders, um, uh, optimizing sleep. A lot of people just not getting enough sleep and having trouble falling asleep. That's another big subject. Stress management techniques. Um, we are in a very stressed out country right now. So this is something that people need to, I hope, embrace, trying to find ways that they can manage. Because a lot of times the stress that and lack of sleep can exacerbate our inflammatory response, our inflammatory symptoms. So it's important that by incorporating lowering your stress level, getting optimal sleep, and adopting a holistic lifestyle can bring down your inflammation. So, and then as far as how do which areas do I decide to explore, or how do I figure that out? I guess I'm just more or less looking at what my readers are looking for, what they want, what they're interested in, and also is it relevant to what's happening? Is it practical to daily living? So that's kind of how I try to the articles that I try to promote and write about on my website specifically to
Mm,
target the
mm,
audience, my audience.
absolutely, with the interest of the audience as well.
Correct.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I think that's a little an expo for all the medical writers are looking forward to exploring some areas in writing. I think gut health is an intriguing field to specialize as a writer. And
Hmm.
so yeah, Salo, we have the last question for you, and it goes this way: as a nurse, how do you integrate your clinical experience? I talked about that. Clinical experience is about scientific experience into promoting holistic health strategies that supports physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Talk us there.
So this is kind of, for me, it's sort of a two-parter because I'm going to talk about myself specifically, and then I'm going to talk as a nurse. So specifically, because I come from a family background of genetically predisposed conditions such as diabetes and heart disease and cancer, um, I practice what I preach. So if I'm telling you this is how you should live. I'm living that myself. You know what I mean? So I've learned to manage not getting diabetes or heart disease because of my lifestyle choices of embracing a plant-based diet, doing my yoga, and practicing a holistic lifestyle, and encouraging other people in my circle, my family, my friends, to try to do the same. Just recently, my husband went full throttle into a plant-based diet, which was surprising to me because he's Italian and he was pretty much born with a bologna sandwich in his hand, but he's doing it, and I'm very proud of him. He's lost like 15 pounds. So, um, so I think uh, I practice what I preach. I've learned to manage my own health by 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 practicing a holistic lifestyle. But for my patients, in addition to that, I think also preventative medicine is key to good health, especially in America. It's so important to get to your doctor once a year, get your routine exam, get your physical, any labs that need to be done. It's so important to stay on top of chronic illness before it hits you, before it becomes fatal. I see a lot of people in and out of the ER that haven't been to a doctor in over a year or longer in some cases. I call those patients and I try to get them hooked into a primary care doctor to get them in to be seen to avoid another hospitalization. So I think those are two really, really important things
Mm,
moving forward for all people.
yeah, I think a general MRI checkups is advisable. You know, you have to do some checkups to know what's really going on. Even though you notice nothing, there are some illnesses that don't, at the beginning stages, they don't signify any kind of symptoms. So if you're doing some checkups, you know, routine checkups, I think you find out some few things. And so yeah, Salo, we've come to the end of the session, and you've been an amazing guest speaker, and I'm assuring that the audience are really enlightened. It's quite obvious. So make sure to watch this video to the end. So if you love this content, do well to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to share to your network. And if you have questions, like I said before, put it on the chat or in the comment section, whatever. And you want to connect with Salo, we're gonna put in her LinkedIn page and Instagram and her website. Check out and all those areas. And if you have questions related to writings, you know, nursing, whatever, she's willing to clarify you on that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Salo.
Thank you, Ransom, for having me. It's been a pleasure being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Ain't it